Hello guys, Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel. Very big welcome if you're new here and the universe decided to put my face on your screen and you clicked it. Congratulations. You have joined my tiny little corner of the universe. And I really promise you, if something made you click on my face, it's because there's a special message in this video for you. So I hope you find it and enjoy and just trust. Okay? Everyone else, hello, welcome back. My friend asked me to do a video on what I do when I'm in fear, flight or freeze response. And the answer is I do not know, but I can share with you an anecdote or a story, something I've been experiencing in the last few months of my life, and it's just brought with it a truckload of lessons, and I'm still processing it to this day. So I'm gonna share this story with you. Get comfortable because this might be a little bit longer than normal. Okay, it all started a few months ago. Now, in the summer, okay guys, so basically I've lived alone most of my adult life. I have lived with people, I've lived with people I've known, I've lived with strangers before, but I'm very comfortable living alone. And if you've lived alone, you know why. Unfortunately, I lost the place that I was staying at in the summer, and unfortunately again, I live near Lisbon, in and around Lisbon, and the rent prices have just gone through the roof, as they have in many parts of the world. So I can't afford to live alone anymore at this stage of my life, which is sad, but okay. So I move into this place, big old villa, right? And the landlord here has dogs. Now, I've never had a problem with dogs. A small incident in Peru years and years ago. When was I in South America? Like a decade ago. But okay, nothing serious. And I love dogs. So when I moved in and I met these lovely dogs, I thought, how cool, I'll be living in a house with dogs. Think again, Jessie. Because one sunny, innocent day, I opened the door to leave the house and one of these dogs went for me. I don't know, I startled her or something, but she went for me. And it was terrifying, okay? She's a German Shepherd, rescue dog, quite young and crazy. Now, the other dog was protecting me, but was also barking very aggressively. I'm not sure if it was at me, at the other dog, but the whole ordeal shook me to my bone. And that dog awakened a fear in me that I didn't know I had. Because I like eventually got out the house, got out the space, and like my whole body was in fear mode. I was, and I've done so much work on, like, you know, the sympathetic nervous system and what's the other one? What's it called? Oh my gosh, my mind's gone blank. Sympathetic? Pre-sympathetic? The other one. Please forgive me because my mind's having a blank. Anyway, I've done a lot of work with like releasing trauma and fear and trapped emotions that have been stored in the body. But this was like lifetime trauma. You know, it was like, bam, I witnessed something that actually low-key traumatized me. And then I could really feel it in my body. Crazy experience to have it so like live, you know, real time. I'm not working with old stuff anymore. This is new, this is fresh in my body. And then, so basically, I was then experiencing this fear response in my body every time that I had to go back home or leave the house because it was being activated. And sometimes the dogs weren't even there, but if I had to walk through their space, my body was having this fear response system and I was having to deal with a lot of fear inside of my body. Now, in these moments, I was rationalizing it, okay? Jessie, the dogs aren't here. Jessie, they're not going to attack you. Jessie, you're absolutely fine. But my body wasn't listening to my rational thoughts in that moment. No, my body was like, I've been here before and I nearly got attacked, so be on alert. Anyway, a few months of this, and now let me tell you, when the landlord is here with his dogs, everything's fine, okay? They have this like alpha male hierarchy thing. So when he's around, they are really good as gold. They treat me like pie, sweet as pie. They treat me like pie. They're sweet as pie with me. They're really loving and cute. And then the minute that he's not here, I'm still considered a threat from this other dog. So she really goes and tries to attack me when my landlord's not around. And I would always tell him this, and he thought I was just being like a little pussy and there's nothing to worry about. But he was never seeing the crazy in this dog's eyes when he wasn't there. Like, she wants me dead, man. She wants me out of here. And I don't know why, but hey. Okay, so this was going on. So I've been like very much dealing with having like a lot of fear activated in my body daily. Ain't a nice feeling, but okay. I can honor it as an experience, and it's bringing up something that I can overcome or learn from in some aspect. Like, it's data, right? It's all data for consciousness at the end of the day. So then, fast forward to like a few weeks ago, and I was trying to leave my house to go to work. It was a sunny afternoon, everything was fine. Joao was out and the dogs were out in the garden. I tried to leave the house. So for me to get out of the house, I need to go through the driveway, which is like their territory. I go to leave, there's a gate between us, and these dogs go flipping mental at me, right? I see the crazy in her eyes, she's trying to attack me. The fear is activated in my entire body, so I have a freeze response, so it's just like, while I calculate my move to run away. I'm not a fighter. Well, am I not? Wait until the end of the story. So anyway, they're going crazy at me. I managed to calm Billy down. So Billy is the dog that normally protects me from the other crazy Phoebe German Shepherd dog. I eventually pluck up the courage to open the gate and enter their space. Billy is sat by me. The other dog's going crazy at me, right? Crazy in her eyes, very aggressive barking. But Billy seems all right. But then the minute that I leave Billy's side, he starts barking, which was terrifying me. So I had to kind of stay by him. But then I'm thinking, guys, I've got to go to work. I've got to go. So I eventually, again, I pluck up the courage to just walk by. I'm nearly out the gate when this other dog, she fucking comes for me, man. She's straight for me, gnarly teeth, you know. And then Billy, the other dog, also barking at me. I'm literally in a corner, right, with these two dogs. In hindsight, I think Billy was probably barking at me to tell me to just get out, but it was very scary. I felt like they were both attacking me. I was screaming for help, okay? And that's another thing which I'm going to get into in a minute, which I had to learn from this whole experience. But I was screaming for help. My housemates, not all of them, but some of them were in. No one came. Until one of the dogs, I don't even know which one because I was in like a misty haze of fear for my life, bit me. And when it bit me, that was the straw that broke the camel's back, guys, because at that point, I had had enough. And I put my motherfucking foot down. And I yelled at these dogs. And I really, really, really made a space for myself in that driveway. And they backed right off. And they were still barking, but they backed right off and they were no longer a threat. And it was very interesting. Because then when I left, right, my body was still obviously in a lot of shock. It'd just been bitten. I was in a lot of fear. But what I realized is what was needed in that moment was aggression. I did need to use force to protect myself. And actually this entire time, my landlord has been not the most sympathetic person with my situation because he thinks I'm a pussy. And maybe he's right, but I just didn't wish to have to engage with aggression and fear as a means for control. I was kind of giving these dogs huge benefit of the doubt and kind of projecting, I guess, a bit of my like compassion and humanness onto them, thinking if I'm just very sweet and kind with them, they're not going to attack me. No, actually what they needed was me to speak dog to them and me to bark back. And I had to learn that. I had to learn that sometimes using that force and aggression, even though it's not really my nature, I don't really like it, sometimes in this world it's necessary. And I really learned that. Also, I do think it's a consequence of leading by fear and aggression, because, oh shit, I haven't got the microphone plugged in. I hope you can hear me. I just realised, never mind. So another thing is, they are fine with me when Joel's around, and when he's not around, they behave very, very differently. So I had to contemplate this a little bit, because he's top dog, right? He's very much established himself as leader of the pack. So when he's there, they're on good behaviour. When he's not there, this is a consequence. And this isn't a judgment or a criticism, because he has his dogs, he's raised them to protect his house. That's his business. He can actually do what he wants. But there are consequences for ruling with fear and aggression and taking this sort of like animalistic idea of what it means to be a leader, which I really feel like is dying out, because I don't think it's necessary. I don't think you need fear to lead. I think respect is a much more harmonious way to lead if we want to have leaders. And that's another topic. So, all of this to say, like, because then of course I had been attacked, so the body was even more afraid. So every time I was coming home, every time I had to leave the house, a lot of fear was being activated in my system. The landlord responded by keeping the dogs locked up when he wasn't there. Okay, not the best solution, because I want all animals to be free, but it was making me feel safer. But every time I had to walk through, my whole entire body was activated again. And it would constrict. I was very much in survival mode, and this went on for about 2 weeks after the attack, even when the dogs weren't there. So what did I do? When my body was responding in this freeze response, I just observed it. I just breathed. There was nothing else I could do. I would obviously use the mind a little bit to rationalize myself and talk myself down, but quite honestly, like, the body doesn't care what I've got to say. I mean, it kind of helped my mind stop thinking about it in a certain way, but I was still very much holding fear, and I just observed it. I just breathed with it, and I just held it, actually, and waited for it to pass. I very much have this approach now with, like, any emotion I have is like, how would I treat a child? If a child was in my care and they came to me with all of this emotion, how would I treat them? And now I just grant that to myself. So if a child or a friend or whatever, if someone came to me with this amount of fear, what do I feel? What could I offer? How could I create a space where they felt safe? I just did that for myself. I did it on a bus, for heaven's sake. I got on the bus, so activated, and that's what I do. So I don't know if that's helpful. And actually, like, update, because to this present day, I'm now able to walk through that space and my body isn't being activated. Slightly it is, and it's gone like less and less and less. It's still there a little bit, but it's not like it was 2 weeks ago. So that's what I've done. It's been an absolutely crazy experience, and there's one more little piece that I want to share that I learned about this, and this is slightly longer than my normal videos, so if you're still here with me, big up. Thank you, friend. So the last piece about this whole experience was that was very valuable for me to learn was this. So when the dogs were attacking me and I was calling for help, right? And I know that there were people in the house. I know that there were. And no one came to help me. And I know that they could hear me because I was screaming for help. And then afterwards, when I put my foot down, I was also saying a lot of loud, bad words. Pretty sure people would have heard it, right? But no one came. And that was one of the most upsetting things for me in the whole thing, was like, I really felt like no one had my back. I live with all men, but I don't know how this has happened, because when I moved in here, all the rooms were empty and it's just slowly filled up with men. I have moved in to a boys' house. Wow, am I learning about my relationship to the masculine? Including the masculine in myself, right? And how I have not developed that in a healthy way. So anyway, one of the most upsetting things about it is no one came to help. I felt very alone. I felt like completely deserted, to be honest with you, and that was hurtful. And it was about a week, and I knew that I kind of had to just address it with my housemates who were in, you know, just bring it up, like, hey, so, the other day, when I was screaming for help, about that, you know, I just wanted to acknowledge it in some way, maybe get their take on it, maybe they didn't hear it, I don't know, it needed to happen. But never did the moment arise, because I didn't see either of them for a couple of days, and then when I did, they were with people or I was with someone, and just life just did that thing where it didn't give the space for it to be talked about, and I was goddamn hurt that no one wanted to help me. I took that very personally, until I was having a moment, like about a week after it happened, when I was able to take myself out of my own experience and narrative, which was, I'm a poor little helpless woman and no one's helping me, no one's defending me in this world. Especially men. Sorry, men. I don't mean to generalize, but like, we all do it. So, and I had this story, I had this narrative that men aren't gonna help, which I have adopted from my family. So I was shown this as well, because actually, when I took myself out and I put myself into their experience, all of this thing and the drama with me and the dogs, it's been a bit of a drama. It's also related to me and my landlord, and there's a karmic relationship, and it's not, no one's gonna understand it the way that we do, or at least think we do, because it's quite deep. I don't really get it, but I know there's something there. And anyway, there's a lot of drama around it, and I thought, you know, take out, if I put myself in their experience, it's not their problem. It's actually not their problem. Sure, I would have loved it. I would have felt more supported by them and probably have a different opinion of them if they had come and helped. But also, like, they have their own lives, and they might not want to get caught up in the drama of mine, even though we live together. It's like when your neighbours are arguing, you know? You don't go out there. You close the blinds. You turn the music up. It's like, that is their business, you know? And you sort of look away. That's all that happened, I think. And I'm not saying it might not have even been that way, but it was really helpful for me to have, like, adopted their perspective and get taken out of my own and my own story, which is like, I'm a helpless woman who needs men to protect her, but men will never come. That was my story. And actually, who knows? Who knows? People don't need to help. And I know if my nearest and dearest were here, they would have helped me. I know that. I've got people on this planet who would help protect me. And again, it's just data for me to understand more of the people I'm living with. Not with judgment, just with, oh, okay. And it's just an interesting thing, isn't it? Like, where our loyalties lie, and who we would help and who we wouldn't help, and when we would help them and when we wouldn't. Just another thing about being human, I guess. And in an ideal world, we all help each other. And we don't live in an ideal world yet. We might not ever. I hope that we do. But if we don't, we don't. And not everything goes the way that we want. Not everyone's going to help you when you're screaming for help. And really what life was trying to show me in that moment is I need to like step up, put a foot down and claim my space. And I had to use violence. Not violence, that's not true. I had to use aggression and force to do that because that is the language those dogs have been trained in. So yeah. Feels like it's ended very abruptly. It's my mind went somewhere else because I made this video before and the battery ran out and it cut off. So I don't know if I've forgotten things or whatever. But there we go. That is my anecdote, and that is what I've been going through the last few months, and it's teaching me a lot about fear, trauma as well, and like releasing trauma. I don't know, I had a new experience with trauma where it was very current, like it happened to me, I remember it, I know exactly what happened, and then also releasing that and seeing the process of releasing it and taking time. And my biggest companion was awareness and the breath. So I hope that's helpful in some way, I don't know. And thank you so much for sticking with me, guys. 21 minutes, oh my God. So if you liked this and you're still here with me, let me know. Like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment, as you know. And remember guys, if I can, you can. See you next time, bye.